Hey, everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network, another edition of Off the Top Rope. So we need to talk about The Rock again. And, in the context of, and I've said this, like I've thrown this out casually and the kind of distant, but I want to, make this really just like a blanket statement. The Rock ruined WrestleMania 41. He ruined WrestleMania 41. But why? Why did he ruin WrestleMania 41? Some people are saying he's just an idiot. He did, and he just did this and he thought this would actually turn out a certain way. If you are dumb enough to think that that was actually like, and you think The Rock is that stupid, then God help you. God help you. Rock's a smart guy. Yeah, he's been burned a lot financially, but that's part of this whole issue at hand and what's going on here in terms of why this whole thing happened. I honestly think that this was incredibly malicious. And this was a strategic plan by The Rock. Basically, in some ways, maybe to get Triple H fired, or maybe it's just like, it's what they call a receipt in the business. This was a bunch of pettiness and a bunch of jealousy and a bunch of greed because of what happened to him last year and how bad he looked on the road to WrestleMania and WrestleMania 40. He did good business, and it created one of the greatest Mania main events of all time. But Rock may be in his own head, but the guy is smart enough to know what the fuck he is doing. And clearly, to me, based off the fact that hey, he got all his TKO shares. He didn't get the WrestleMania match that he wanted with The Rock. He got universally panned and Cody got chosen over him as the people's champion. So that had to hurt his ego because, hey, The Rock, Black Adam wasn't a big creative success. He said some stuff that was really controversial. So he wanted to use WWE because he was a board member to get back in, give the fans what he believed the fans wanted. And they did want Rock Roman under the right circumstances. And when he came in and barreled through Cody Rhodes in the midst of a 2-year build, and the fans didn't like it, and the fans chose Cody over him, and the company had no other choice but to do the right thing, because if they didn't, they would have gotten a universally panned result like this. But they turned it around, and they were able to do good business and had 2 great nights of WrestleMania at WrestleMania 40. But The Rock almost barreled through that last year. Then this whole entire year was built around, like I said, he had 2 ready-made opponents that he could have very easily wrestled. Very easily. If you could have a 40-minute a tag team wrestling match, you could very easily face Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania in a year's time. He didn't want to do that because, his ego was hurt. His ego was hurt. And, hey, he thinks he's the people's champion. He wants to be beloved. And because Cody Rhodes took that from him, that hurt him. And that's really what this whole situation is about. And what this was, the way I kind of see it as I've, sat on this for about 3-4 days, and seeing that he was not involved in this. This was all like, it's a combination of The Rock just doing whatever the fuck he wants. And I think there was some intent here to fuck over WWE and, fuck over Triple H, because there's some creative differences there. There is a power struggle. I've talked about it on this channel. And I think it was also to make Cody look stupid, because he's not happy with Cody. Like, listen to that Pat McAfee interview. Rock wanted to turn Cody Rhodes heel 1 year after finishing his story. And he was already the biggest babyface ever, the quarterback one, the guy who's been carrying this company on the biggest financial success that they've ever been in. Biggest financial success that they've ever been in. He's the quarterback of that. He wanted to turn Cody Rhodes heel. Like, what? Because Rock wants to be the center of the storm, and Rock wants to be, the babyface. He wants to be the people's champion. And, now we can all kind of see through this facade that The Rock is somehow like, the champion of the people, and the people all love him. Like, the last 2 or so years have done more damage to The Rock's reputation than maybe at any point in his career, even when he was Rocky Maivia at the start of his career. Because remember, this is one of the most famous people in the world. And he tried to barrel through 2 years of WrestleMania and then has the audacity to basically, barrel in John Cena's heel turn and, just be a part of that and then say he doesn't need to be a part of it. And then everything's left off the screen. And what we're left with at WrestleMania is him not being there and Cody, looking stupid in being that heroic babyface. And maybe if there's one thing that's good that could come out of this, him not doing the belt shot and actually being good could possibly spawn a heel turn. But like, what are we doing, man? Like, this is so evident to me that The Rock, this was a receipt. He ruined WrestleMania, and the key point of this build, he ruined it out of pettiness and jealousy because his ego couldn't take the hit for what happened last year. Look at every segment that he has been involved in. It was all bizarre. Just everything was bizarre. And it was almost like he just wanted to do shit. And then when it came down to actually inserting himself into a storyline, there was almost like an intent to like screw up everything like he did last year. And the only difference between last year and this year is he wasn't around to, because he was going to be involved in last year. This year, he wasn't. So, hey, he could come in and then, hey, just do a quick little build, get the fuck out of there, and whatever happens, happens. And he knew that without his vault, like, come on, guys, come on. Rock's not stupid. He's not stupid. And maybe, maybe in some level he might be, but come on, guys. This was a malicious thing that was done to screw up things, which you may be asking yourself, well, why? Why would guy who just got 30 million in TKO shares paid out to him? Why would a guy do that to deliberately sabotage his company? I'll tell you why. He wants control of it. He wants to be writing. He wants his writing team taking over creative. He wants to be the lead, I'm not going to say he's going to be Triple H, but he wants to be the lead guy in this thing. And he doesn't know, and in that aspect of things, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He wants to do everything for one man, and that's for him. Triple H actually wants to do this for WWE and actually wants to book it for the future and stuff. And, Rock may have some, names in his mind, but the fact that his Mania main event and his moment with his family, which, by the way, he could have done for the last 2 years prior to that, the fact that he barreled over and tried to ruin a story, and then the fans told him, fuck no, that hurt his ego. And then, hey, it's almost like he was an evil genius and deliberately just tried to fucking ruin WrestleMania. And he succeeded. He succeeded in ruining WrestleMania 41. There were some other things that Triple H could have done better. Could have been a lot of matches, but a lot of this stuff hinged on The Rock. And then he comes in at Elimination Chamber and is never heard from again. The fact that Joe Hendry has been on more premium live events this year than a TKO board member who, let alone, is going to be a Hall of Famer in The Rock, that's insanity to me. A TNA wrestler has been on more premium live events. Joe Hendry was at WrestleMania and The Rock wasn't. Everybody's focused on Joe Hendry losing in 3 minutes to Randy Orton. Why don't we focus on the fact that The Rock, who's in a big part in the top storyline, wasn't there, but Joe Hendry on a week's notice showed up. Somebody's got their priorities in check, and the other one doesn't. Rock's priorities are about him and about his grievances and about his dirty laundry, and he couldn't take the fact that his main event with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, the one match that he wanted to do, the one match that fans wanted for close to a decade, he wanted to do it that year, and it was going to have to come at the expense of the biggest babyface arc that they had done in a long time. So, and his ego couldn't take. Hey, he couldn't put over his cousin Roman Reigns at 31 after that Royal Rumble win, and Cody just organically got over, and Cody's the champion of the people, and he's not. He couldn't take that. Why do you think he wanted to turn him heel? Like, it's so clear as day to me that this is all pettiness and jealousy towards Triple H, towards WWE, and the fact that they didn't side with him. And this guy wanted to use WWE and his TKO shares and his relationships with Ari Emanuel and Nick Khan to leverage and fix his image after he had a bomb in Black Adam. That's what this is about. And the fact that his image took even more of a hit from this, he had to take it out on somebody. And that's why WrestleMania suffered. So that's really my takeaways from this. Thank you guys so much. We're going to have a lot more reaction on here. Starting to get into some more sports discussion. NFL drafts this week. We'll probably have some reactions to that as well. And yeah, we're now in I can't say the off season, but yeah, we're now building to next year's WrestleMania, or we're really on the build to Backlash, but also big picture SummerSlam and some of the other events that are coming up later this year. So hopefully WWE can rebound. They seem to do a really good job on Raw, and NXT was really good on Tuesday night. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.